Here we go.
Here we go. One more time. Everybody's feeling fine. Here we go. No.
Karen, I've been here for like 3 hours. We did do a Patreon video, but besides that, we've just been singing the Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it.
It's good for
I
the soul.
mean, God, it's great. Okay, look.
So good.
Let's show these things we got. We talked about it on Instagram, but we also just want to put on the YouTube video.
On the tube. For
Okay.
all the people. Yeah, a little bit, but it's okay.
Guys,
Why?
why?
Try to like lean across this and see.
Here.
Okay, just a little bit. Just a little bit. A little bit more. Well, I mean, that's okay. We'll be okay.
Listen, if the YouTube video is crooked,
Just tilt your
we're
phone.
normalizing imperfection.
Tilt your phone a little bit.
Yeah, just hold your head like this while you watch us.
It's like those things where it's like, now, tilt your phone this way.
Okay, it says Beach Witch Bars,
Yeah, it's amazing.
Lizzie Havoc. And
I love her.
It's www.etsy.com/shop/Beach Witch Bars. But we can put the link in the show notes of this episode. Handcrafted soaps featuring herbs, crystals, and essential oils to cleanse the mind, body, and soul, made with moonlight and magic in Winthrop by the Sea.
My kind of people.
Oh my God. And look at some of these soaps. I should have got them out of the package before we get around the mic.
ASMR, guys.
So her boyfriend had a brain surgery.
Yeah.
And so she did this one.
To make light of this.
If you're watching the YouTube,
It's a brain.
yeah, it's amazing. And
The
it
shape
smells
of a brain.
so good.
A little peppermint.
That one is called Dibs on the Brain.
Love it so much.
You want to show that
You
one?
got a little ghosty. It's good for that winter skin. It's just like it has walnut oil, coconut oil, olive oil, all the full moon water, guys, and oatmeal. So it's good.
We're
for,
not
like
getting paid to do this or anything.
no, we're upset. We're
Yeah,
upset.
it's just really great. And then,
and it's got a ghost on it.
oh, I know. And this one has an axe, and it's called Lizzie Borden Took an Axe.
Lizzie Borden took an axe.
See,
gave her
she's
mother
so our
40
people,
whacks.
guys.
When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
Uh,
Or the other way around. Come on, Dad. Whatever it was,
Right.
she did it.
And Lizzie is the name of the girl who sent us
Yes.
the girl sound of the woman who sent us these. And I'm just like, thank you so much. I love
Yes.
this. This is the nicest
Thanks for
thing to
loving
get
us.
mail with the nicest note.
Okay, yeah. And the
I love
paper
them.
that this is on. And just like, it has a little ghost
Yeah.
on it.
You guys, everything that you all send us it's always so thoughtful. You can
Yes.
just tell you all really put so much thought into all of it, and it's incredible. We're constantly like, people are sending us stuff. I was just trying to figure out what that was. Yeah.
It's
I
a
love
little
it.
sticker off of the soap. It says, pick your poison.
Yeah. So thank you all for sending these.
Yes.
You guys, they'd be great Christmas gifts, stocking stuffers.
or if you just
Something
want to
for
get
your
it for yourself.
girlfriends, your boss, people you work with, teacher
Boyfriends.
gifts, like all these things. Try to think about who you need stuff for. Try to think about all the people that you might need stuff for, and then It's be a great
Do it.
gift. I love them
Do
so
it.
much. Yeah.
Run
so
and do
thank
it.
you, Lizzie, for sending us.
Yes,
those.
thank you so
You're
much.
so incredibly talented. I think people who make soaps are just
Oh
the
my
coolest.
gosh, yeah.
It's one of those things that I don't know. It's a neat hobby.
Yeah. Well, and I have like an obsession with like skincare and like body care and stuff. And
Yeah.
I love it so much.
I am.
And the smells of it remind me, if you all are like Lush lovers, it reminds me a lot
Yeah.
of Lush.
They're just so pretty. Everything about it's cute. The
And it's
package
good
is
for
great.
you too.
And it's made by
Follower.
one of our trash witches.
listeners. Yes, trash witch.
So thank you so much.
Yes.
And hey, this is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery podcast.
Hey guys, I'm Kara.
I'm Megan.
And we are doing.
This is our 100th episode.
What are we doing with ourselves?
I don't know. I'm so excited. I can't believe we did 100 episodes and we did like 99 of them in October.
999 of them. Yep.
How is our 100th episode when we easily did 7,000 in October?
9,743,000 later.
I loved every second of it,
It was fun.
but it was a lot. So here we are with our 100th episode.
100.
And it's Thanksgiving, which is
Oh my
perfect
gosh.
because I'm so thankful for you.
Oh my god.
We didn't even plan that.
Nothing. We could never rehearse anything.
I'm thankful for you.
Yes.
Thankful for this podcast. Thankful for all of you all. Like, it's just,
It's saying how much we've grown.
yeah. I mean, it's really incredible.
This is so fun for us.
Yeah. So we are really happy that you all are here, that you've helped us get to 100 episodes, that you've made it something that like we just enjoy doing so
and
much.
you continue to encourage us to continue this.
Yeah, so many
little
nice
journey.
messages from you guys.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So, yeah, we love
We
you.
just love you all
Thank
so
you.
much.
So we're doing a double episode today.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to go first or do I
It's
want to?
whatever.
I don't have any clue. What kind?
Yeah.
Do you have a murder?
I have a
mystery?
murder.
Mine's a mystery.
Okay. It's whatever you want to do.
Let's do yours first. Maybe, I don't know. A murder seems like more of a downer, but I'm not sure. Mystery is still kind of a downer. It really won't. It's still a sad mystery.
Oh no.
But here we go.
Okay. So it's Omaima, pronounced Omaima, Nelson.
That's a name?
Mhm.
I like it. Oh, Mima.
Well, yeah.
Oh, Mama.
she's questionable.
Oh, hell. Oh, okay.
I mean,
You got to put on that party dress. Buy me a drink. Sing me a song. Take me as I come, because I can't stay long. Okay.
every gen.
One more time to feel the pain.
Okay. She was born and raised in Egypt. She immigrated to the U.S. In 1986. She was 23 when she met her husband, Bill Nelson. He was a 56-year-old pilot. They met around October of 1991.
Okay.
So they got married within, like super quick. Just like,
It was like a love at first sight
Yeah,
immediate
yeah.
thing, or like she
like
needed
a
to
lust.
get married to
Yeah,
stay
like a
there?
lust.
Oh,
Well,
I
they
lust at
didn't
first
even
sight.
address that in these articles, but it was like a lust type thing.
Mhm.
So she was just like, we honeymooned with his family in the Southwest before we returned to our apartment in Costa Mesa. So, like I said, they met in 91. He was playing pool at a local bar. And she said that once they got married, he kind of started to show his violent side. So he started getting just rough with her. She claims he tried to strangle her. She said he hit her with a lamp. And then,
Sorry.
oh my God.
Start that. Say that. He hit her with a lamp.
He hit her with a lamp one time. So she just was like, I can't do this. So, right before Thanksgiving of 91, they took a trip to several states. And on their way back to California, she said that her husband threw her cat out of the window of the car. And then she said that he handcuffed her, to a chair and sexually abused her.
Oh.
Yeah. So she stabbed him with scissors and killed him. She said, if I didn't defend my life, I would have been dead. I'm sorry it happened, but I'm glad I lived. She said, I'm also sorry I dismembered him. The marriage only lasted 3 weeks until he was dead.
Wait, that all happened in 3 weeks?
Yep. And guess what day this happened on?
Thanksgiving
Day. Thanksgiving. Yeah. So, like I said, she claimed that he had sexually assaulted her. And she killed him. She beat him with a clothes iron. And after she did that, she cooked his head and boiled his hands she thought it would remove his fingerprints. And then she mixed up parts of his body with leftover Thanksgiving turkey and put that in a trash bag. And then she was like, you know what? If this didn't get revenge, I'm going to castrate him. So she did that too. And then, yeah.
It took her 3 weeks to go from like I do
to
boiling his body.
Chopping body parts. Checking beans like Lorena Bobbitt.
It just seems like she shouldn't have married him.
Yeah.
I mean, Lorena Bobbitt, I feel like, had a more justifiable
Right.
story here. And it's like, if she's a victim, I understand reaching a point of like breaking
point.
So I'm like, so was the abuse going on before? But even then, if you killed him to save yourself, okay. But then it really seemed like you're enjoying the.
She gets into
it gets worse.
Yeah, oh yeah, it does. Okay, so she skinned the torso, cooked the head, and fried the hands in oil. She was arrested after she stuffed some of his body parts into garbage bags and offered friends $75,000 to help her dispose of it.
What do you do if you get that phone call from your friend?
Nah, girl, no thanks.
Not only have I killed him, also
I need you to help me. Well, there's
cut him up
Yeah.
and cooked parts.
parts of it. So they said the prosecutors tried to say that she killed him and like was trying to steal from him. She had done this to several other middle-aged men that she seduced in the past, but she didn't end up killing them. She said that she had churned his parts through a garbage disposal that the neighbors claimed ran nonstop the hours of the murder. On Thanksgiving. Authorities found his body parts, some of his body parts, stuffed in garbage bags. Like I said, mixed with Thanksgiving leftovers. Hands were fried, heads boiled, stuffed in a freezer. And then she was trying to like fight for a release. She's like, no, I'm good. I got this. She claims she was acting in self-defense because she was sexually assaulted. Prosecutors claimed that she was just trying to rob him. That maybe it didn't happen. But another shady part is, on top of asking her friends, she asked some ex-boyfriends to help her remove his teeth so then they couldn't identify him that way. Did you know that, like, if you murder someone and you remove the teeth, they can still identify the face because your sinus cavities are also like fingerprints? Megan's are stuffy right now.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It makes me think of Brian Laundrie.
Yeah.
And his teeth.
Yeah. She was arrested the day after the bloody Thanksgiving weekend while driving his red Corvette. She had been going from one ex-boyfriend's house to another, trying to ask each one of them to help dispose of the bags. So she was just trying to place them all around town.
I can't figure out, like, did she kill him and then just lose it? Like, she just went crazy.
You just wait until the 2 more paragraphs. When the coroner weighed...
I'm really glad we're doing yours first.
Yes. When the coroner weighed the body parts, he said there was at least 80 pounds of Bill missing. Then, she told a psychiatrist that she was meeting with that his ribs, she decided to barbecue. She said, quote, I did his ribs just like in a restaurant. He said she sat in the kitchen table with Bill's cooked remains and said out loud, "It's so sweet. It's so delicious. I like mine tender." Told the doctor this. Yep.
What in the world mental illness are we dealing with?
So, the psychiatrist testified during trial that Omaima was psychotic and suffered from PTSD. He said that at an early age, she had a forced female circumcision, which is cutting off the clitoris and sometimes the labia. That caused her much growing pains. And when she moved to the U.S., she was abused by several men. So she just snapped. She said she admits to going through a series of dysfunctional relationships with other men before she met Bill. So things were just like crappy leading up to him. But jurors decided to not find her guilty of first-degree murder. They said there was no evidence of premeditation, but they did convict her of second-degree murder. They found her guilty of assaulting former boyfriends with guns as well.
I mean, I imagine, God, the forced female
circumcision.
Yeah, I kept thinking castration.
Yeah.
It's just
horrible.
And it would have to mess you up in terms of your feelings about, like, those parts of your body and sex and anything related to someone coming near. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel sorry for her and I'm also terrified.
Exactly. Yeah. She was also facing other felony charges unrelated to this case. False imprisonment, attempted robbery, all sorts of stuff.
Just
like
things
that.
She had done to other people and she robbing them?
Okay. Yeah. The jury said despite feeling really sorry for him or for her, there were 8 women, 4 men on this jury. They didn't really believe a lot of her claims about the relationship. But because they were just like, you all were newlywed. Like, Well,
that's my whole thing. But I also think with the state she was in, because of what she got through,
And if she
It
was
wasn't
having
his
issues
abuse
with
over years,
other
but it was-
men leading up to finding him, and they were only together for 3 weeks, this
And
was
then he
just a
got
straw
violent.
that broke the
Right.
camel's back. They said they deliberated for 6 days before giving her the second-degree murder stuff.
I'm surprised it took them 6 days.
Yeah.
But maybe they were really
Well,
considering what she'd been through.
They said they were extremely disturbed by the evidence presented to them. It included tales of bondage, sex games, decapitation, castration, and even allegations of cannibalism, like her eating his rib.
Mm-mm.
And this person was speaking on behalf of 11 other jurors. He said, all I want to do right now is go home and go to bed. He said, this is the person whose evidence photos he went through.
He was on the
just
jury,
like,
yeah.
He said, you had to see the pictures of the victim. The pictures were bad enough. Like, he just is scarred for life now, too.
You would be.
It's
I might be also.
Yeah, like, it's just insane. She was eligible for parole in 2006, but it was denied. Commissioners found her unpredictable and a serious threat to public safety. So she then again was eligible in 2011, but was denied parole board again. They said that she's not taking this seriously. She has not been a productive citizen. We cannot free her. She'll be able to seek parole again in 2026. And then her reasoning for doing all of this to his body was that in Egyptian myth, they claimed that if they wouldn't be able to meet them in the afterlife if this
Oh, so if
happened to
she
them. Yeah.
chopped him up.
Yeah. It's just, she said that she's now ready to get out and live the good life that she was meant to live. Yeah.
It's awful because it's like you want to understand that like she had horrible things
Yeah.
said to her, so she's really screwed up. But it's almost like those things are true. And
Yeah.
it's awful, but that still makes her this
Yeah.
dangerous person.
Yeah.
Like it sucks
Yeah.
because she's a product of kind of what her
The system,
environment
yeah.
made her. But she is still like,
Yeah. So at one of her parole hearings, a psychiatrist testified about all of this stuff, and he said, about the ribs and stuff. So then they were like, okay, we need to like question this again. Like what happened? So it said she grimaced and denied she ate him. She said, I swear to God, I did not eat any part of him. I'm not a monster. So then a commissioner asked, what was your purpose in cooking him then? And she refused to answer. But she needed his rib. Like it said, she admitted at one point to cooking his ribs and like taste like.
That's why I wonder. Like she must have just completely lost her mind.
Yes, yeah. She said,
And I don't mean this to sound like there's an excuse when I say that she's a product of what happened to her. I mean,
yeah,
there's plenty of people.
right.
I mean, as horrible as that is too. Like in certain parts of the world, female. Why can't I think of the word? Not castration, but
circumcision.
yes, female circumcision is done routinely, and it's awful. But they don't all go on to do this.
Right.
So
Yeah. She was quoted saying, she looked for love in all the wrong places. She said, but now I value my integrity and my journey. I have a strong desire to help others. She told the board that she was grateful for the grace of God and her family. If released, she would return to live with her mother in Egypt. Then she visited with the man she married while she was in jail. He was 70. She said, we had 3-day conjugal visits. There were knives in the kitchen. He never felt threatened or endangered anyway. I loved him so much.
how are there knives in the kitchen? Where is she?
In jail. Having conjugal visits with her 70-year-old husband.
And there's kitchen
Knives.
in the jail.
Where they're having sex in the kitchen.
Doesn't that seem?
Who's letting this happen? Yeah. So Nelson's daughter, 35-year-old daughter, decided to speak at one of her hearings.
That was the guy she killed. His daughter. Okay.
Yeah. She said it took her several moments to just compose herself to read what she had written. She said that it sucked not having a father at her wedding. It sucked not being able to introduce him to her 8-week-old daughter. She said that she was invited to that Thanksgiving dinner. It's like your Australian lady.
Yeah. Thank God she
Invited them.
didn't go.
Yes. And she was like, I refused because I was so angry with him for marrying this chick he didn't even know. And now she's like, this is what I would have shown up to. She said that she was there because she wanted to return some human dignity to the man that was her father. So she said, I don't know the adequate punishment for a murderer who doesn't even leave a family a body to mourn over, but I do know you don't let her out. And then it says the district attorney's office said Nelson has failed to complete any educational or vocational classes while incarcerated. So she's not abiding by any of the prison rules. She's just not.
Yeah, so it really does seem like she doesn't get it.
Yeah. So here, I mean, Alima's just in jail and may not ever get out. Which I understand, like, all of this stuff happening right now, everybody's like, okay, well, now everybody that's doing this in self-defense, like, we want to speak to those women. Like, yeah. She seems like a danger to other people as well.
And she doesn't seem to have a good grasp on reality.
Right.
I mean, the thing is, she may truly believe, like, I will never do this again. I'm going to go home and live with my mom and everything will be fine. But then if the wrong person.
Yeah, crosses her again. What if that happens? What if
I was going to say provokes her, but who even knows if they would have to provoke her?
What if she just has a PTSD flare up and it just.
Or some people are just wired wrong.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
Yeah.
But it's also like, they're dangerous, you know?
Yeah. Can't have her out in society.
Awful.
I know. Thanksgiving ribs. So bad. Also, I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat now because
No, yeah. Well, it's because we took 3 hours just to sing Hamilton.
Oh, that's very true.
That's why
but it was so,
why you didn't eat.
So worth it.
Okay, so we'll do a quick commercial break. Then we're going to come back.
Is it a Pedro commercial? or is it a Anchor ad?
I bet it's going to be an Anchor ad.
You think?
I bet so. So we'll pause with the Anchor ad, and then I'll come back and tell you my story.
Pause.
And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, just imagine the Anchor ad.
Just imagine.
You've probably got it memorized. Hey guys, it's an Anchor ad.
Hey guys, Anchor FM,
Free.
get started.
Download. Do it now. Anchor.fm. It has everything you need all in one place.
All in one place. You can upload it to Apple and Spotify for free. We're great. We're so fun.
Yep.
I love us.
You can see why we get so many ads. Companies are just
Cleaning
down the
into
door.
our emails. Please
do an ad for us.
Begging us.
Okay. I have a story. In case you didn't notice, we have a theme. It's Thanksgiving related crime.
Right. That's what we try to do for our holidays, except for Halloween, because we got wild that month.
We got wild. So for this episode, I'm doing, as you all know how I am particularly fascinated by the missing people.
Yes.
This story, when I started looking into it, it went in this direction that I had no idea that was coming.
All the turns and twists. Okay.
So we're going to talk about Karen Marie Mitchell. Okay. Karen Marie Mitchell was 16 years old, 5 days away from turning 17 on November 25th, 1997.
Okay.
She was a good student, and she was a semester away from graduating high school with plans to attend Humboldt State University. And she talked about majoring in law or political science, but she was just kind of, we're not sure.
Yeah.
At the time, Karen lived with her aunt and uncle in Eureka, California.
Eureka.
Mm-hmm. So Karen's mother had given birth to her really young. Her mom was 16. And then I guess she was married. She got divorced shortly afterward.
Oh, okay.
So for a few years, she was a really young single mother raising Karen and her brother. Karen was the oldest. She was raising them on her own, and she moved all around Orange County because that's like where her extended family was.
Right.
So Karen was kind of a shy kid, but that changed as she got older. She was feisty and independent, so we would have loved her.
Right.
She was super into the environment.
Oh, and Megan, we all know how Megan feels about recycling.
She also said they called her evangelical about composting.
Oh,
I know. My friend Amy would be like, me too. She owned a worm farm.
What?
Remember the whole worm farm thing?
Yeah.
From last week?
We finally
There you go.
worm farmers.
Well, I think that was maybe just in the Patreon episode, but there was a whole worm farm.
Worm farmer.
So she owned a worm farm. She didn't care about clothes or makeup.
Compost.
She always wore jeans, a t-shirt, and a hemp necklace. So I'm like right back in 1997.
Oh my god.
This is when I figured out.
Like feel that
Yeah.
against my skin.
I was the same age as her. In 1997,
Man.
I graduated in 98. So we were the same age. My birthday is Halloween. Hers was a month later.
Wow.
I know. It's awful to think about. So she liked the Smashing Pumpkins and REM. All I can say is that my life is ready. That's Blind Melon. That's what I think of.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, that all seems like typical 90s teenager stuff to me. But apparently in the area where she lived, she sort of just didn't fit in.
Oh.
And Karen's aunt eventually was like, hey, why doesn't she come live with us in Eureka? Because I guess Eureka was kind of more of a hippie vibe type place and it was more rural.
Right.
So they just thought she'd be happier there. And she was.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 1997. Karen is out of school for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Okay.
And she rode to work. She rode into town with her aunt.
Okay.
So her aunt worked at a shoe store at the mall and Karen worked at a daycare. So Karen rode to town with her aunt and went to work with her for a few minutes before it was time for her to go to work.
Okay.
So she left around 2:45 p.m. to walk to her job. Annie, her aunt, was like, do you want to ride? I'll ride you over there. And she was like, no, it's just a mile away.
Uh-huh.
It sounded like this was something that was kind of a routine.
Yeah.
She'd just walk because it's a short walk.
Right.
Karen was seen walking toward West Sonoma Street shortly after she had left the mall. No one has seen or heard from her since.
Another person that disappeared off a street.
There was money in a savings account that she never used and a plane ticket home for Christmas that was also never used. Annie, the aunt, she had no idea Karen was missing until she went to pick her niece up from work 3 hours later. And they were like, Karen didn't show up today. Karen had never missed a day of work until that day.
Oh, no.
So it's even just sadder. So all the usual things happened. The police and family organized searches. A tip hotline was set up. The Karen Mitchell Information Center was set up at the Eureka Inn.
Oh, wow.
The high school held a candlelight vigil. It all went nowhere.
Oh, my gosh.
So one witness, a retired police officer, said that he thought he saw Karen get into a light blue four-door 1976 to 1978 sedan.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe a Ford Granada, a Mercury Monarch, or a Nissan.
Man.
It had California license plate and Eureka imprinted on the rear frame around the license plate. And the witness said that the car had nearly hit him before stopping for a girl who matched Karen's description.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm assuming because this guy's a retired police officer.
Right.
And he had the experience of almost being hit, so he must have gotten a good look.
Yeah.
But the amount of detail he has in his description of the driver is whoa. The driver, according to the witness, was a Caucasian male, 60 to 70 years old.
Oh, wow.
He was balding and had light hair, light gray or sandy blonde.
Oh, my gosh.
His eyes were green or gray.
Wow,
He's in the car. I said, I'm amazed by that level of detail.
Yeah.
That maybe he was just really good at it. He was a former cop, so maybe he was retired, had been a cop for years, and he's just used to clocking those details.
Oh, yeah.
And he wore glasses, which is another thing. So he's in a car with glasses on, and you could still tell he had blue or gray eyes.
Well, I'm wondering if
green or
was
gray eyes.
almost hit him going opposite direction, so he slowed down as he was crossing next to him. I don't know.
Or maybe you know how when somebody cuts you off in traffic and you're you stare them down. Yeah. So maybe they were he got a good look at him, I guess. He also said he had a large nose that looked like it had been broken at some point in his life. Wait till you see the sketch. I saved it specifically because I was the police sketch of him looks ridiculous. His nose is comically huge. It looks like a cartoon. It's weird.
Oh my gosh.
He had a small build and wore a light blue long sleeve button down shirt.
How did you know it was long? Well, I guess if his arm was up on the
I guess
steering wheel.
A sketch was made of this driver and his vehicle, which you can see if you look Karen up on the Charlie Project website. Okay. So everything that I've just told you, that's all of the information we have. It's possible there's more information that police are keeping quiet.
Okay.
But as far as like what's publicly available, that's it.
Okay.
And we don't even know if that part is true because we don't know 100% if that was Karen getting into the car.
Right.
But everybody's pretty much operating on
That
the
minute.
idea that that was her.
Yeah.
So, so I've told you what we know.
Uh-huh.
Now we're going to speculate.
Let's do it. Let's do my stomach growling.
I literally thought that was thunder.
Oh my God. Wow. Do you not hear that? What?
That's not a storm, you guys.
That is
Karen's
my
just hungry.
stomach.
Okay.
I can't skip breakfast anymore. Scrimp on breakfast.
Mm.
I used to work with a lady that called shrimp scrimps.
Why?
I don't know, y'all like them scrimps that they have at the
Scrimps.
strength with
I
strength.
mean, I say a lot of things wrong.
strengthen.
Remember how I say penitentiary?
You got enough strength to pick that up?
Mm-mm.
Sure, Audrey.
Okay. So there's at least one famous, at least in true crime world famous, name that has been repeatedly attached to the disappearance of Karen Marie Mitchell.
Okay.
It's a millionaire. He's a known murderer, a suspected serial killer. In fact, he was actually just convicted of murder in September of this year, 2021. And in 1997, he lived in Trinidad, a small town about 20 miles from Eureka, California. And so it was all in the same county.
Oh my gosh.
Robert Durst.
I can hear his voice in my... Oh no.
So have you seen The Jinx?
Yes.
Okay. I have not seen The Jinx. I know what it's about because True Crime Obsessed covered
Yes.
it. I don't watch anything anymore. I just let True Crime Obsessed.
Tell us what we need to hear. Yeah.
So whether or not you've seen it, you might just be familiar with his name because, like I said,
Oh God.
he was just in the recent trial news where he was finally convicted.
Yes.
But he's been suspected for years and
forever.
years and years.
Yeah.
And so, but finally went to trial and finally was found guilty. So here's a quick recap in case you don't know who he is. Robert Allen Durst is the son of New York City real estate magnate Seymour Durst. So he's super, super wealthy.
Mhm.
And in 1982, his wife, Kathleen McCormack Durst, disappeared.
Yep.
In 2000, his longtime friend Susan Berman was murdered.
Mhm.
That's the murder he was eventually convicted of.
Yep.
In 2001, his neighbor, Morris Black, was murdered.
Mhm.
He also went to trial for Morris Black's murder. He was acquitted because he admitted to murdering him, but he said it was self-defense. So he was acquitted of the murder charge, but then he was found guilty of tampering with evidence because he dismembered Black and dumped his body parts in the Galveston Bay.
Oh my God.
So it's Susan Berman's murder that led to his conviction this past September. And it's believed that he murdered Susan in order to keep her from telling anyone that she had helped him dispose of his wife's body years ago. And so just last month in October, he was sentenced to life in prison.
His voice.
His
I can
voice
hear
is
it.
real, distinctive. And, that's one of the things up there that they said about, I haven't got to that yet, but there's somebody mentions the voice here in a little bit. So we'll talk about that.
Yes.
But it is, if you don't, just go look him up. And there's probably a YouTube video.
Oh
where you
yeah, I
can
was
hear
gonna
him
say,
talk,
we can
or
just,
watch the
Google-
Jinx.
Yeah.
You remember the voice. The voice is
A lot.
not normal.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the record, Kathleen McCormack Durst's disappearance remains unsolved, and Robert Durst has not been charged with anything in that case.
You would think that he would just, if he's already been charged of this stuff, he would just be like, yeah, sure. This is where she is.
You would think.
This is what's happening.
But he also tried, because I guess he's not in very good health. I mean, I think he's in his late 70s or early 80s.
Yeah.
If you look at pictures of him, he looks about 130 years old.
Mhm.
He looks awful. And they tried to even just have him not go to jail because of his health. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
but it's dude,
You did, yeah.
you've killed 2 people.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably a lot more. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Okay, so as for Robert Durst's connection to the disappearance of Karen Marie Mitchell, the chief of police in Eureka, Andrew Mills, said it's a potential possibility, but he doesn't want to call it a lead.
Okay.
He said, in my opinion, we need to be very careful not to overreach because it creates false expectations.
Oh.
So let's talk about a few of the reasons that Durst's name comes up in this case.
Okay.
So remember how Karen's Aunt Annie worked at the shoe store at the mall?
Yes.
In March of 1998, 4 months after Karen disappeared, Durst visited that shoe store wearing women's clothing. several times. I don't care that he's wearing women's clothing.
No, but
it's just like, was he trying to disguise himself? I don't know any more about it. They just said he wore women's clothing and visited the store. He also, here's where we're going to talk about this.
Okay.
He also resembles the sketch of the man reported by the witness as the driver of the blue car that picked up a girl who matched Karen's description. So I know you all can't see this, but I'm going to show Kara just so she can react and tell you all. There's the sketch.
Oh my gosh.
Look at his nose. Like, I get that he has a big nose.
Right. But
ridiculous. And this is Robert Durst back then. The
hairline
is exactly the same.
The cheeks,
the hair color is the same.
Sits.
The size of the nostrils. See how the nostrils are on even on the sketch? They're the same way here.
Yep. Maybe that's what he meant about a big nose. Because see how it kind of like goes to the side a little bit? And like his chin, his jawline and his chin.
This is her, like, age progressed.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, he does really resemble the sketch.
Yeah.
Again, allegedly.
Allegedly.
He doesn't allegedly resemble the sketch. He totally resembles the sketch.
Right. But he allegedly had something to do with it.
Yeah, I'm not saying he did it. I'm just saying he could have.
Could have done it.
There are also rumors that Durst had frequently visited a homeless shelter in Eureka where Karen had once volunteered. So he may have known her, and she may have known him. A friend of hers from high school, her name was Megan Renee, said that she believes Karen had to have known who she got into a car with,
right,
and thought it was a safe decision. So that means it's important to think about how there could have been a connection earlier.
Ride to work.
Yeah, like remember me from the soup kitchen type thing.
Yeah, you don't have to walk. I'll just drive you.
Yeah. There's another woman who lived in Eureka at the time that Karen disappeared. Her name is Corrine Van Swearingen, which sounds 100% made up.
Truth or myth?
It's the Patreon video this month. She also said that she said that she had also experienced a man in a blue car try to pick her up, and it was, quote, the scariest experience I ever had in Eureka.
Oh, no.
Which I think it's interesting that she said in Eureka. Like, what other scary experiences?
Yeah, where have you been to have experiences like this?
She described the man who drove the car as small with a raspy voice, which go listen to the man's voice.
It's memorable.
It's weird.
Oh, God.
And he had weird teeth, is what she said.
Oh, man.
She said the driver had the same voice and stature as Robert Durst. To be fair, when this happened to her, she didn't report it because she said she didn't know the details of the Karen Mitchell case. Okay. She lived in the area at the time, but she just didn't know all this stuff, so she hadn't thought to report
I just brushed it off.
Right. I don't doubt that it happened to her.
Right.
But I do question this, like years later, the power of suggestion in her memory about the similarities. Right. You know, between the driver and Robert Durst.
Yeah.
There's an author, Matt Birkbeck, who wrote a book about Durst called A Deadly Secret. According to his book, credit card records put Durst in Eureka on the day Karen vanished.
What?
We do know, like I said, he was living in the area at the time, in Trinidad.
Right.
Which is like 20 miles away from Eureka. He had a home in the area, and a friend was quoted in 2001 as saying that Durst was there 50 to 60% of the time. So I think he had multiple homes, but he stayed a lot at that one.
Oh, no.
And he also had an office in Eureka. And then here's this direct quote from one of the articles I read. All the articles are going to be in the show notes. This is such a weird random note, is why I put it in here.
Yeah.
He once filled out a lease application with the lie that he had been a chief botanist for a Eureka lumber company for 15 years. Why?
Why would he even need to do that if he had so much money
I
and
had
so much
all
clout?
the same thoughts. All the same thoughts. Also, one thing that seems important to consider is that in 2001, like when this article came out, he was on the run for murder charges after the death of Morris Black. So she disappeared in 1997. We know he murdered Susan in 2000 and Morris Black in 2001. So it's just kind of like this time period when
everything
seems pretty active.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing here. If you watch The Jinx or if you follow Durst's trial, this might not be anything new to you, but I just really had never been that interested in this story.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't know any of this. And the more I learned about Durst, the crazier it gets. So in addition to this possible link to Karen Mitchell's disappearance, police reportedly examined connections between Durst and the disappearances of 18-year-old Lynn Schultz, who disappeared from Vermont in 1971.
Oh my gosh.
And 18-year-old Kristen Modafferi. I'm not sure I'm saying that right.
Yep.
who disappeared from San Francisco in 1997. The FBI had also looked into Durst in regard to the Long Island serial murders.
Oh my gosh.
They ruled him out of that one, I think, but they looked into it because the way some of the bodies were discarded in that matched up with how Morris Black's body was discarded.
Ooh.
And they created a task force, an informal task force, to look into cold cases in the areas where Durst had been known to live. Ooh. So, like, they think there's enough there that they're like, we got to
look into this.
So they like reached out to police in those towns and they were like, take another look at your cold cases.
Yeah.
And then there's a Texas private investigator named Bobby Baca, it's Bacha, has also traced Durst operating under stolen identities in Texas, Florida, Massachusetts, New Jersey, South Carolina, Mississippi, and Virginia.
Jesus.
He could be connected to so many things. I mean, he allegedly murdered his wife in 1982. And then Susan in 2000. He was convicted of that one. Right. So we don't have to say allegedly. Yeah. What'd he do from 1982 to 2000? Right. Something.
Yeah.
So, allegedly, Captain Patrick O'Neill said Eureka police have investigated the link between Robert Durst and Karen Mitchell throughout the years. At this time, we have not found any credible link between Mitchell's disappearance and Mr. Durst, he said. However, until Karen is located, we will not rule out any possibility.
Oh.
There were people who thought that Karen had simply run away. There were rumors that she'd been spotted here or there over the years, but nothing went anywhere. Okay. But they looked into all of them. One time, Karen's mother and brother traveled to Tempe, Arizona, because they got a pretty good tip. And when they went and talked, there were people like, oh, yeah, she looks like this girl. But then they finally tracked down the girl, and it wasn't her. So it was just like this, like there was this whole interview with the mom. Yeah. It was just heartbreaking. Former Eureka police detective Dave Paris was the lead investigator for years in Karen's disappearance. And he has stated multiple times that he is convinced Karen met with foul play. So he doesn't think she was a runaway. But he also has never believed that Robert Durst was involved.
Oh.
He said he couldn't put him in California at the time. And so I don't know if that means...
But his credit cards did.
Right. But that's what the author says of that book.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So I don't know. And it could be that this, like, what he has said about that, not being able to place him at the time, happened before the credit card receipt. You know, It's hard to know with some of the time.
Oh, that's true, too.
But here's another direct quote. I actually had to message Kara and read her this when I read it the first time. But when they look into other, like, suspects, right? In 1999, it's not that it's funny, but it's bizarre.
So weird.
In 1999, a man named Wayne Adam Ford walked into the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office, which is the county that Trinidad and Eureka are in, with a woman's breast in his pocket.
That's a... Huh?
What?
What? Why?
I have so many questions that I don't
want answers to. No, I don't want them answered, but what?
I put on here, what on earth?
What?
So that guy, Wayne Adam Ford, said he'd killed and dismembered 4 women, all transients and sex workers in the area. So obviously, Detective Paris is like,
what's going on here?
You're on my suspect list now for Karen Mitchell. So he gave him a polygraph and Ford passed it. And Ford even told investigators that he was sorry that he could not be of more help with the Karen Mitchell case.
Yeah.
And Karen's mom, like, went to prison and visited him and showed him a picture just to ask again. And he was just like,
I don't know.
I think he said, she looks like she could have been one of mine. But, I mean, he passed the polygraph.
And he was probably just being...
He was being weird. He wanted Karen's mom to, like, stay in contact with him and write him letters and stuff. So he could have just been saying something to, like, give her a little bit.
Yeah.
And she decided not to do that.
Good for her.
The Eureka Police Department has collaborated with the California Department of Justice, the Humboldt County DA's office, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the FBI in their efforts to solve Karen's case. The investigation has included hundreds of interviews, database searches, locations searched, and the submission of her DNA profile to a national database for comparison. Every year, Karen Mitchell's family honors her on November 25th and on her birthday, November 30th.
Oh.
I know. So the issue here is that Robert Durst seems to be like the only suspect who's really discussed publicly, at
Right.
least. I tried to Google. I was like, do we not have anybody
Right.
else? I mean, that Wayne Adams Ford guy, but he doesn't
Yeah.
seem real.
Right.
So it's just, this is the only one who
And
comes
the
up.
picture.
The sketch, you guys, is really something.
Ugh.
Which if you go to the show
Well,
notes,
and,
you can
like,
see you'll
Not
find the
only-
link to
Not
one of the
only did
sketches.
that retired cop give this description, that other woman who a blue car that matched that same description described him in other ways.
Her whole thing is questionable though because she didn't report it when it happened.
Right.
So,
She could have seen him on
and
TV.
I hate to be like, I don't want to doubt her. I don't know her, but it would be a problem in court, I think, right? Because it could just be like, well, you could have heard Karen's story and then made up this one. Like, who knows why? People do
Right.
weird things all the time.
Right.
So, but yeah, no idea what happened to her. That's all we know. And there's not even a big list of suspects, even though this case is like 1997.
Yeah.
God, math again. Why do I keep doing math on the podcast? 20.
2017, 89, 21, 24 years.
24 years. I did that in my head. Kara didn't help at all. I'm going to edit out the whole part where you did it.
And you're just like 24 years.
That was 24 years ago, you guys. But in 24 years, they haven't come up with any more suspects. It's just the fact that it's just like literally, it just seems like a dead end. Now, what I hope is that there's just stuff the police are holding back that they're not telling us.
Yeah.
So maybe they know more, but it just seems so sad. And especially where it's like around a holiday. I mean, I know like no matter what day it happened on the year would be awful for the family, but it just seems like, gosh, and there's this big holiday around it. And every year it's going to be a big holiday and her birthday.
Right.
So that's all.
Well,
Sorry.
Ugh.
Yeah. But I thought the Robert Durst connection was just, wow. I
Yeah.
had no idea when I started reading it that that's where it was going.
No, and that description just, it's
The hairline really.
Yes.
But
And like here.
the
Just
police
like right
sketch
here.
itself is, go look it up. I think if you go to the Charlie Project, it has it there too. Like his
Go look
nose is comically large.
Right.
And
But the nostrils match, and I'm just wondering if he was just like, well, because
the broken thing. Maybe.
And maybe it was swollen at the time. Maybe he got punched in the nose.
Oh, that's true too. Maybe it could have been. I don't know. It's also wild to me just how I hate to say the word crazy, but I'm going to say it in his case. How crazy he is.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly wild.
So anyway, thank you guys for being here for our 100th episode.
100, guys.
Yes, it's really exciting.
We did it.
We love you so much.
Yep.
You can reach us. There's in the show notes. It'll have links to everywhere you can reach us.
Literally everywhere.
We have a whole lot of fun on our Facebook group. If you want to look that up, it's in the
Please
show
join
notes. We've also got a Patreon that we love.
And we're about to put a lot
Yeah.
more into starting January.
Yeah, starting in January, we have like a whole, we're going to have the same tiers, but we're going to add some stuff to it. And we might add a tier. We'll talk about, but at the very least, if you're already in the Patreon, don't worry that things are going to, like you're still going to get what you're getting. We're just going to add to it.
Get more.
So we really appreciate you,
Yes,
all of
we
you,
do.
in whatever way.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the
You don't have
Patreon
to
or you just not like,
You just
fine.
love us.
Yeah, we're just so happy that you're here and that you listen. And we always love hearing from you. And
So
you've sent in
much.
so many great stories.
You do.
Yeah.
We have a whole list that probably could keep us busy for half of the year next year.
For sure. Yeah. I constantly look at that list.
Yeah.
All right. We love you.
So much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.